Hello, everybody. What's up? Is Jenn Soto confused? I don't know about that, but I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. Do me a favor, y'all. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Definitely get a membership if you can. I got to tell you guys. Now, first of all, I love you guys. Love you, love you, love you. I'm never late, but usually when I am, I'll post my live stream for 15 minutes later. So I see people in chat asking if Jay is okay. I don't know if you guys noticed. I put it for 4:15. So I'm actually a little bit early, guys. So good to see you. Mab stayed on the island, y'all. Guilty of crime. Didn't make it back, but it would be nice if we'd be able to make it back and have a fair competition. The streets of YouTube are wild today and last night. I'm just going to say that. And on to the subject. Welcome, Grammy T. Now, listen, guys, thank you for being a member. I got to tell you guys, we're no last minute stuff. We're going to do after. So, first, we're going to break down this wild interview. Jennifer Soto's guilt based on her own words and her house rule. Her house rule was to not let Maddie sleep with Stephan. It's like a boyfriend. You have a boyfriend, right? Your child has a boyfriend at 16. You say the boyfriend can stay the night, but you guys can't sleep in the same room together. And that's the topic of today. That by Jenn Soto's own words. Now, first we're going to go over here. We're going to go over this interview and talk about Jenn Soto's guilt in her own words by one of the most damning statements that I've ever heard. Number one. Number two, we're going to do call-ins so you guys can tell me how you feel about the situation, what you're thinking, and get whatever you need to out. Number three, if someone calls into my show and starts telling me what their agenda is, and I see your voice getting raised or you start coming at me, click. I'm not doing that today. Number three, we're giving out a Foxy Box. A Foxy Box is something you want to get, you can't buy, but you gotta be a member. So you gotta be green, like right there. If you're not green, then you can't win. So you can't buy it at the last second once we draw, and then you decide, well, let me get a membership since I just won. We can't do that in fairness for those like Grammy T that are getting their memberships early. So today we're doing a call-in show. We're giving away a Foxy Box, and you gotta be a member, all right? Amanda says nothing's going to happen to Jenn, but maybe, just maybe, you weren't following what happened before all of this transpired. So hopefully you can go back to the playlist, take a look. Law enforcement is looking at this case again. Law enforcement did take information from me to help in the case of Jenn Soto. They also approached Stephan Sterns' defense team to talk to him about what he knows. So if nothing happens to Jenn, then she's the luckiest woman in the world, or Casey Anthony part two. So come on in, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, get us in the algorithm, and check out our goal for today. All right. Opt in to win your memberships and all that fun stuff. Come on in, guys. I know some people are rolling in at 4:15 and later because that's where I scheduled my show. Yes, they do. They absolutely need to go interview Stephan himself. And again, I haven't heard much from him because one of the very last questions that I asked him was, did Jenn help you to dress Maddie that morning? Did she help you to move the body? Did she help you to dress Maddie? And that was it. He stopped talking. State approached Stephan, and he says, I can't say any more without hurting the case. And I understand. I do not want to hurt the case of Jenn Soto being arrested ever at any point. So that being said, if Jenn ever does get arrested, I'm not going to take any credit for that, but I will be having a celebration hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. We're all going to celebrate in the justice for Maddie. I would never sit here and be like, yeah, I'll take the credit. It's not me. I'm just giving information to law enforcement. Stephan will have to fill in the blanks, and Jenn will have to come in and go lie through her teeth so they can arrest her ass. All right. She has zero immunity. And now we're going to get into it. So let me say hi to everybody. I really do hope karma, what have you, does get her. Good to see you, Jinx. All right, Suzanne, how you doing? All the mods in the house, thank you for being here. Tony B, Abby Poodle, Norma, Mom, I'm glad you're here. Happy Friday, Mom. Much love to you. Can't wait to see you again. Holidays are coming. Anna says Casey Anthony 2.0, and rightfully so. I welcome all opinions, all right, in a respectful manner, of course. What's up, Cuff You? How you doing? All right, guys. Dale, my friend, we're all going to be with you. Justice for Maddie. Hi, Jay. How you doing? It's her fault what happened. And I agree. She is one of the biggest culprits in this case that not only pushed Maddie onto Stephan, but she kept Maddie with Stephan to keep her little tiny rotten potato empire. All right. She also got the wrong outfit. And that's why I asked Stephan if Jenn helped him dress Maddie after she had passed away because she didn't even know what she was wearing. Nancy Jean, good to see you. Jay, I'd be glad to go back to court and see Jenn on trial. And me too, my friend. Me too. So, guys, Sadie's mama, I'm glad you're here. I hope you're doing well. Justice for Maddie. Guys, get your memberships. I'm telling you, we're getting started. We're gifting memberships. We're gifting Foxy boxes, and we have lots of holiday giveaways. And of course, I can only support those that support the channel. So, right, the giveaways, the shipping, all that's expensive. But when it comes into the channel, I can put it back out. So Michelle says, karma is my best friend. And that I agree with, my friend. Anna Fleming, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Sadie's mama, of course, 19 months. And Chumba, I absolutely think that she helped with the cleanup. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Jenn's own words. And there's lots more interviews like this, but this was the latest. Came from 2 days ago. And let me tell you, I'm going to put this up real quick. And then I'm going to tell you what the hell y'all are getting yourself into today. All right. So, of course, words can hurt and words can help. Now, in Jenn's own words, let me tell you, Suzanne, good to see you. Hashtag arrest Jenn Soto. Laura, big hug to you. Clar, my girl. Hugs, love for all of you guys. All right. And I absolutely, all the cases I cover, I'm a mama bear. Y'all are mama bears, and mothers are supposed to protect their children, not push their children onto pedos. All right. Happy Friday. You look like a coach today. Oh my goodness. I was a law enforcement officer one day. Today I'm a coach. I got my handcuffs. What was I? I was a skater yesterday. This is my ink shirt, guys. This is my tattoo shirt. But hey, I'm coaching. I'm from the sidelines today, baby. All right. Now, Francis, let me answer you and we'll get started. Where is she and why doesn't immunity protect her? I agree she should be prosecuted. It's null and void if she lied. So-called immunity. So again, I'll explain this for the 177th time. 177th time, Jenn Soto had a one-time immunity with her lawyer present that lasted an hour and 2 minutes. And if they found out that she lied, then it would be null and void. They did not ever say she lied, and they never charged her, and her immunity is done and gone, right? 178th time, Jenn Soto had a one-time immunity. That is now gone. Scorpio lady, being kind is very free. You know what else is free? Hitting that like button. What's up, Kristen? Good to see you, Low Red. Sorry I stopped texting you, but, I had to get on with the show. Now, listen, guys, I'll leave that up for a minute. Okay, here's what we're talking about today, folks. I want you guys to understand the gravity of Jenn Soto's rules in her house. The number one rule in Jenn Soto's house. Right now, this would be my number one rule if I had a son or a daughter that was dating somebody and I knew they were actively sexually active. I would say you guys can have a sleepover, but you can't sleep in the room. That's one rule. You can't sleep together. No, none of that, right? And if that happens, then you know what we do. We give them condoms, get them on birth control, all that jazz, right? I have a grown-up son. I know what the morning after pill, I know how much it costs. I know how much a giant box of Costco condoms costs. And I know what it looks like in my cabinet. Keep seeing the damn thing with condoms missing because I have a son that's 26 years old. All right, Mary Lou, good to see you, my friend. So I'm not naive to what goes on between males and females when they are sexually active, when it's okay to be, when you're at the right age, Planned Parenthood, condoms, what have you, Plan B. But when you're abusing a child that is under the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you don't have a house rule. The number one rule in Jenn Soto's house was that Madeline Soto, her rule was that she couldn't sleep alone with him. Now, she doesn't say that Maddie couldn't sleep alone with Stephan. Her number one rule that she tells law enforcement in this forensic analysis, in this police video, in her own words, all right? Jenn Soto, February 28, 2024, police interview contains devastating linguistic evidence in the Madeline Soto case. Her statement says that number one rule in my house was that she couldn't sleep alone with him. She and him. Now, a confession that destroys her claimed ignorance when she said the Orange County detectives that she broke her own safety rule less than 5 times. She admitted to consciousness of danger and guilt of the abuse that happened to Maddie Soto. All right. She agreed to that. She confessed that. Marissa, she would have been in jail a long time ago. Well, thank you for the $1.99 towards our goal. Foxy, thank you for the Guilty of Crime membership, and Don Grandma 3 as well. Please get your memberships so you can get a Foxy box and win other things. All right, now listen, huge consciousness of guilt. And in my opinion, like I've said 178 times now, Jenn Soto was not the focus of this investigation. Stephan Sterns was, signed, sealed, delivered for both cases, wrapped up 21 years later, 21 life sentences later. Now, Jenn Soto admits that less than 5 times she let them sleep together, but in the CSAM pictures, that proves to be a lie. Those CSAM pictures of 35,000 and more had over 1,000 pictures of Maddie in compromising positions alone. So there's no way that Jenn was only letting Maddie sleep with Stephan 5 times or less when the abuse was continual and ongoing for years. All right, good to see you, Ogado, or however you say that. And good to see you, Panda Ann, member for 4 months. All right, let's get into it, guys, because there's a lot today. We'll get through that for about an hour, and then we'll do call-ins, and then we'll do giveaways. All right, so let's get going. Let me bump the sound up so y'all can hear it, because this one is not a video of her sitting on the couch crying. This is from February 28, 2024, and the ultimate rule in her house was that she couldn't sleep with him alone. And why would you ever put that rule in place with your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend and your little daughter?
Reference Orange County case 24-01313. Today is February 28, 2024. It's approximately 15:49 hours to Kissimmee, located at Central Operations. Conducting an interview with.
Let me put the words
Jennifer
up.
Soto.
Jennifer Soto.
So we can hear some voices in the background.
Again, this is in the description. It's the latest from Veriscope 1. In the beginning, it's kind of a little wonky, but I put the words up and you'll hear it. Again, we're going to go over this. You guys are going to get it all out, because who knows when we're going to cover this again. Depends on the coverage. All right, good to see you, Jennifer Soto. What's up? Big hugs and much love. Thank you all for your patience today, by the way.
Doing okay? I'm all right. No, I know.
You doing okay? All right?
Okay. I'm assuming? Is that what I understand?
Yes, but he's actually on his way to Florida.
Okay.
All right, so she's talking about Stephan on his way to Florida. What is she talking about on the way to Florida? This detective, you correct, Jennifer? Yes. I have to check. I don't know. I've been out here doing all right. Now, remember, this is after Maddie's already been missing for a couple of days or a day and a half by now. And just listen to her.
He recently moved back down in December to Northport, Florida.
Okay.
His dad had offered him a job, but it fell through.
Okay.
So he's kind of stuck down.
Gotcha.
We are waiting for, he used to work at Disney.
Okay, so let's analyze. We're going to be going slowly and doing forensic linguistic analysis on what she says.
And that's the number one sentence of the day. Now, there's more incriminating things, but her giving the number one household rule is she cannot sleep alone with him. And then you remember the other time where Jenn Soto told Stephan that, oh, well, I can't risk Maddie to sleep with me anymore. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about her rule of them not sleeping together alone by themselves. And she only let it happen 5 times or less. Mo, I have my hands in my water, so here's my 2 cents. Well, thank you for your 2 cents. I appreciate you. And yes, I did see Melody Buzzard's mom is finally arrested for unrelated charges, possibly, but they've got her locked up.
To determine whether or not we see deception in the police interview. So immediately we notice that Jennifer uses the word but in contrarian conjunction. She says, yes, but he's actually on his way to Florida.
Thank you, Mama Sage.
She then says,
my
okay,
goodness.
He recently moved back down in December to Northport, Florida. His dad had offered him a job, but it fell through.
Please thank her.
So he's kind of stuck down there. We are waiting for, and here we have self-censorship. He used to work at Disney. So we have an okay frame agreement at the start. And she then goes on to provide extensive employment history without being asked. We are waiting, being a plural pronoun, shows unity with Stephan Sterns.
Again, the unity continued with Jenn all the way up until when she stopped talking. Now, when she spoke with the lawyer, she still never incriminated Stephan into anything. She had the one opportunity with a lawyer to say anything she wanted. She could have said, now that I look back, I would wake up and sometimes Maddie might be a little too close, or sometimes Stephan would get out of the shower and we would joke around about his junk and it was just all in fun. I never knew that it went this far. All right, good to see you, Pam. Let's go. We got a while here.
And using the word so as a reason why, explaining why, we see this as a sensitivity indicator, and so we would mark it with a deceptive flag. Individual flags meaning very little per se, so we look for clusters of these flags. And we also notice that she uses the present tense, are waiting, when discussing past events. The detective goes on to say,
what did you do at Disney?
He worked in attractions at Epcot.
Okay. And what was the job that his dad was trying to get him? Do you know?
It was like construction manager, or like an assistant construction manager, or project manager, something like that.
And these were all the questions that we asked later. I mean, Abby Poodle says, what extensive employment in all those years except for working for her mom and off walking. I never knew of her working. I think she was going to do house cleaning. She sucks at it. But she's also sticking up for Stephan here and talking to law enforcement about his job that he's going to do with his father, and it's such an important construction manager or assistant construction manager or project. I mean, she's really playing him up, Deb, to law enforcement. Now, I understand a mom doing that for her son. Well, you still didn't do that. You guys turned in the evidence, but this lady that knew her daughter was being assaulted, saw the pictures. Her daughter, ultimately, life was taken by him, allegedly. Well, now he's convicted. And she said nothing except for what she's saying here. She's talking him up.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay, so we notice that she uses the word like a number of times as a vagueness indicator, but we would also be looking to establish baseline on her linguistics.
Thank you.
But we do notice that the word like is used quite often. And we also have further vagueness introduced into the statement with something like that.
Jen's
So
a
she's not
loser.
providing any specifics at this stage.
Choo choo.
That fell through. So we were waiting, like, we have to
Slight transcript error, I believe.
wait a specific amount of time for you to reapply to Disney again.
Okay.
From when you resigned.
Right.
So we're waiting for that time for him to reapply again so that he can come back up here.
Okay. So how often does he stay?
Again, you guys remember this is a mother that her daughter's been missing for what, a day and a half? This is February 28th, right? Jenn Soto's February 28th police interview, where she's going to talk about their one rule of not sleeping together. She's very calm, guys. She's very collected, and she's very much talking this man up. Right. We at this point, she's still maintaining that her and Stephan are a unit of parents. He's the stepfather. Like, I mean, you could see it right here. We're waiting. She maintains the unity by using we. She did not want Stephan to be charged for any of this. I assure you.
The apartment with you guys.
Okay, so one thing that you'll notice with statement analysis is we do go slowly. So we practice active listening. So appears twice. So. So we're starting to see reasons why and explanations.
And we'll go a little bit further because we know that her unity is strong.
So we're seeing vagueness being introduced by Jenn into the statement.
So
The
daughter's
detective asks,
missing.
and how long does he usually stay for? Anywhere from a few days to a week. So we have a continuation of the hesitation on Stephan's visits and length of stay.
Thank you, Rose.
And also we notice that she introduces an inflection on the statement and introduces vague time ranges. So
again, we all tried to figure all of this out while this was happening. And instead of Jenn just giving them, okay, this is how long he's here. We've been broken up. He just came back. He was supposed to come back for the week. She was very vague and didn't try to help them with the time frames, ranges, or any other information that she needed to get out that she should have got then. She didn't do it then. So like I've been saying for almost 2 years, guys, Jenn, in my opinion, has always been the puppet master, and she absolutely had monetary gain, in my opinion, as well as having a man by her side to get her what she needed. They used I think they both made money from that, and they both had monetary gain. But Stephan had more than monetary gain. There was some sick love that was happening between him and Maddie, or between him. It was abuse, right? Grooming. Jenn definitely helped in the grooming of Maddie as well, in my opinion. All right. Now, it doesn't matter if I say in my opinion or not. I really want Jenn Soto to be arrested. At the end of the day, I've been talking about her for years, and y'all know as much as I do that she is just as culpable for what she did, and in her own words here, with Maddie. All right.
this is Madeline hasn't been found at this stage, and Jenn is only a witness, but already we're seeing suspicious linguistics.
Usually stay for?
Anywhere from a few days to a week.
Okay. And then he goes back down there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm assuming he stays with his dad when he goes down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenn for the pen.
How long has he been in town recently?
He got into town Sunday evening.
This past Sunday?
Okay, so we notice here that we have a cognitive overload stutter. He got into town Sunday evening. So she's sensitive over timing.
Yeah, okay. And he was staying with you? Yeah. Okay. All right. And then.
They're very similar. They're both very childish. Like,
and again, she's talking about Maddie and Stephan, right? You don't talk about your daughter like that. That's missing. She's saying, and in my opinion, these are freaking the guiltiest knowledges I've ever heard in my life. When she compares Maddie and Stephan as being very similar, they're both very childish. Guys, she knew what twisted relationship that was going on between them, in my opinion. There's no way she couldn't have known, but even past that, what I've always suspected is whether you believe Stephan or not, is what he confirmed is that Jenn absolutely pushed Maddie onto him. Now, how mad do you feel about that? Yes, the mind of a chomo will tell you whatever to sleep at the end of the night. But my suspicions have always been that of Jenn pushing Maddie on Stephan, and she did a good job at helping her get groomed with him as well, so that she felt like, this is my bonus dad. They've got that facade. People don't have sexual relationships with their bonus dad. That is not how life works. All right. So when you tell me I loved her, I was her bonus dad, she loved me and I loved her. Yeah, I love my children and other people's children, but you don't have sex with them. That is not part of a loving parental relationship. All right. So just drop that all right there. Once you start saying that, and I know what happened, there's pictures of it, we saw the abuse, that's all gone. You no longer get to say I'm the bonus parent. I don't give a shit. That's gone. All right. Let's keep going.
he loves board games, video games, arts and crafts, all that
Right.
stuff.
Okay.
I'm kind of a watcher.
Okay. So this is interesting. I'm kind of a watcher. She says, which we
Y'all, we could have made a video about that today. We could have just been like Jenn the Watcher. How many times did Jenn watch them in actual relations? How many times did she watch behind the camera where she was never on it? How many times did she push Maddie onto Stephan so that she didn't have to have him do the kink on her that she didn't want done, but she wanted to keep him there in place to have a man? Yeah, bonus grapist. Once you get past that, once I know what you've done, you cannot ever say that anymore. And yes, she is always, in my opinion, before I ever heard her calling herself the Watcher, she's a watcher. I absolutely, and not only absolutely unequivocally believe it, but her roommate also said the same thing about Jenn being on the outside. And that's why the bisexuality came into place. All right. That's why it came into place with her sexuality, because it's a possibility that she interacted with Maddie and Stephan in a threesome like deal. Or maybe she didn't even like Stephan. She only liked women and she pushed Maddie. Either way, that's what went down. All right. In my opinion, Rebecca, thank you so much. Choo choo. Let's get started. Don't get your blood pressure too high. Mine's high enough for y'all.
notice and we mark again. He loves board games, video games, arts and crafts, all that stuff. I'm kind of a watcher.
Right? Very true. You're not kind of a watcher. You're a freaking, what do you call people that voyeur? She's a voyeur.
Describing Stephan as having childlike interests. So we notice the sensitivity marker here.
Now, listen, I just want to tell you, Kissimmee, Florida, and anybody else that is in here, I pray that law enforcement really does what they say they're going to do. I pray that law enforcement really did take what I told them, like they said they would, and took into consideration and have already approached Stephan's defense team, which he said they did. But I pray that Maddie gets the justice she deserved, because I believe this the whole time. Yeah, the watcher statements always creep me out, but when you look back on it and you see the 3 tripods and you see her talking about that and you hear about her bisexuality and possibly being incorporated into some of it, it makes you think even further about what she did to her daughter and how she pushed her on to Stephan, and for what? Money, compensation, a man, what else?
Yeah.
No
And
communication
the
with her daughter.
watcher being passive is quite unusual
The voyeur.
for her to, as the mother,
Yeah.
to remove herself from agency with her daughter, and Stephan replaces herself as the primary parent, and she's just become a kind of a watcher in their relationship, with Stephan also being childish, and we have a grooming type of activity with Stephan loves the games and the childish activities.
And I agree. You guys, as citizens and in the local area, can absolutely call Kissimmee Police Department and call the lead detective and ask him why she hasn't been arrested and is the case closed. If we can get that answer, is the case closed, then y'all will know. All right? Y'all will know. Let's keep going.
And she's just the watcher. So immediately we would be concerned with her linguistics. We also note that there's no communication with Madeline. Throughout the entire transcript, there's no reported conversation. She also very rarely uses her name. And we'll notice that in all of the
very rarely uses her name and uses her in past tense, which was in all of the law enforcement documents, all right? They put red flags over the past tense. And even when she said her name, she's not, my number one rule is she can't sleep with him. She couldn't even say Maddie can't sleep with Stephan because she knows that's a lie. And she tries to minimize her lies by minimizing the words that she uses. That's what we're looking at.
Interviews with the law enforcement officers as the days go on. We're about 3 days before Madeline is found when this interview occurs.
That's what I'm saying, Deb. That's what I've been trying to say. It's not.
She told me, or I asked her, or she said is missing. There's no language of communication with Madeline. Her daughter appears linguistically as an object. There's no speaking. And linguistically, forensically, looking at the statement and looking at statement analysis principles, this might suggest that Madeline is unable to communicate because there is no communication in the statement, and therefore is already deceased. And in fact, this is actually the case.
And that's very true. That I didn't even think about that. Now, when you use someone in the past tense, obviously that's knowing that they've already been deceased. But let me read that. Guess who the state attorney's re-election campaign? Yep, Yolanda, the Snake of Kissimmee. And see, I've said that before too. Yolanda has ties within the Hispanic community in Florida, and the Hispanic community in Florida is huge. All right. So remember the ties, remember the law enforcement that's been arrested for gambling, racketeering, laundering. All right. Try to remember that.
But linguistically, it might be indicating that Jenn is aware of Madeline's state, and hence we're not seeing any language in the statement. Let's carry on.
Interesting. Why would you say
that?
Like, I won't play the games, I'll watch them play the games.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But he's more involved with that. Yeah, they're pretty great.
Yeah, this is concerning, isn't it? They're pretty great. He's more involved with that. I'll watch them play the games. I won't play the game.
And you see, I mean, is she really talking about the games, or is this some kind of leakage here, right? She would watch Stephan and Maddie play games. She would watch them paint. And she watched her daughter like a hawk, and she's talking about how involved he is with that. She knew that Maddie and Stephan were on the phone all the time when he wasn't with them. She tried to keep him on that leash, and she kept Maddie, in my opinion, as the end of the leash. So Stephan would keep coming back. All right. Let's go a little bit more forward.
She isn't participating, and that she is only the watcher, and that they're pretty great, and her agency as the parent is
That too.
removed. Do you see? It's very concerning.
All right, here we go. How often they go on their own? Okay.
Did they ever?
All right, now here's the part where she tries to minimize Stephan's role in Maddie's life and how often they were together by themselves. With the pictures, law enforcement could clearly look at them and say, there's 1,000-something pictures of Maddie in compromising positions. Are you telling me that those were outside of the 5 times? When he took 200 pictures times 5 every day? I don't think so. All right, you've gone. This detector subscribers up. Cool, Jay. Well, welcome, you guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. When we're done here, we're going to have y'all call in. Tell me what you want to talk about. We want to know what you want to talk about. We want to talk about Jenn Soto being arrested, and then we're going to do a Foxy Box giveaway. So you got to be green for that, all right? I mean, she's a groomer. Jenn is a heavy groomer, and maybe she is. Maybe she is one too.
Off on their own, like you kind of do your thing and the two of them do stuff together?
Hardly ever.
Hardly
Why would
ever.
she say that?
It's for the most part, it's the 3 of us doing something.
Gotcha. And then when he's
It's the 3 of us doing something. That's not what the pictures say, Jenn.
Okay. So hardly ever linguistically is an interesting phrase.
Minimizing. She's
The
minimizing.
detective repeats it, and then Jenn explains what she means. It's
Allie.
for the most part, it's the 3 of us doing something. So she's put herself as the watcher,
You better get a membership.
and yet
my friend.
here she's now involved. So we have a change of the architecture in the statement. It's for the most part, now it's changed. It's from her being the watcher only to now it's for the most part, it's the 3 of us doing
Participating.
something.
Yep. I'm the watcher. No,
So
I'm
we would
involved.
note that there is now a change in the way that she describes the relationship between the 3 of them.
And she does change her mind often on that, right?
For the most part, being a
I know.
qualifier.
How could she not have been
Interestingly
enrolled?
enough, the detective uses the phrase gotcha. I wonder if that's leakage
I'm
from the
telling
detective.
you. Again, this hasn't even, I haven't watched this yet. I'm reacting directly with you. I've seen all of these interviews and I remember everyone we've documented, read, etc. But absolutely, in my opinion, this is a huge leakage and she changes her role based on what she's trying to tell officers. Again, she didn't know that she didn't know at this point that they were going to find Maddie just days later. She didn't know at this point that Stephan didn't completely wipe his phone and the cloud. She had no idea that they were going to find those images. That would have never blown open that wide had they not found that in this case.
does he sleep on couch, separate bedroom? What's like the sleeping arrangements like?
It depends.
Hey, Lynn.
Okay, so it depends. So variable arrangement is what's important to Jenn to let us know. For the most part, he would sleep upstairs in the guest room. Here we have a redaction, sleeps in my bedroom downstairs. Sometimes he would come sleep in the bed, all 3 of us together.
Hugs, guys.
So here we have depends and sometimes, creating vagueness in the sentence, but also she acknowledges the co-sleeping arrangement with the unrelated adult.
And again, we thought this was a big deal. Do you remember way back when, for you day oneers, Anna Fleming, do you remember way back when we got Jenn Soto's roommate CM on and she said, Jay, Jay, I have a problem. When I was staying there and Juan was there, all three of them would be in bed all the time in the room, just in a bed, in a room. I felt really uncomfortable, Jay, but I'd leave my door open a little just in case I heard noises. And she would always tell Jenn, why are you with that loser? He doesn't have a job. You talk about him being a dirty pig. You tell me that he doesn't contribute. What are you doing with that loser? And she never did tell her. She never could give her an explanation, but we knew that all three of them were sleeping together long before Jenn ever told us any of this. All right, lies, lies, lies. I agree. Hit that like button, y'all. Let's go. Let's get hype.
Adult male Stephan Sterns. She then goes on to tell us, and rarely becomes sensitive because it's repeated, rarely ever, which we would mark as a deceptive word. So here we have.
And by the way, Nancy Jean or anybody that wants to gift memberships, if you just go down into your chat box, there's a little $sign. If you click on that $sign, it will ask you to buy a membership or you can gift memberships. And yeah, now I'm definitely not insulting one or the other. I'm insulting both of them. He may be a pig, but he was wallowing in the mud at the same depth. I agree. She tries to make herself look better once she realizes that Stephan's so intertwined with the images and them seeing him on camera with Maddie already being not alive. Until then, she's intertwined herself into the relationship between the three of them completely. First, she went to being a watcher, and now it's, oh no, all three of us were there. All right. We haven't even got to her number one rule about not letting them sleep together. Jenn said in an interview, assault is not evil. She's evil. I agree. And the reason I believe she said that is because she was part of that assault and she also encouraged it. All right. Thank you, Synth, for that link. You could probably go on that link too. But if you want to gift memberships, it should be down at the bottom of the box.
Sensitivity and rarely ever would I send them upstairs to go sleep alone. So
I agree.
We have consciousness that it's wrong, which needs to be minimized by the rarely. So Somebody who says this knows it's wrong. Rarely ever would I send them upstairs. So she takes agency and responsibility. She is the one, Jenn Soto is the one that sends them. I send them upstairs to go sleep alone.
Yeah, rarely ever.
There's a difference between going to bed and going to sleep.
Agreed. Much difference when you're going to bed and when you're just going to sleep or you're going to lay in bed with somebody. Again, this is a huge statement that we have to look at again and again. And if anyone's trying to gift memberships and you can't, if you just want to send me a super chat or a super sticker and let me know how many memberships, I'll go ahead and buy them for you. I can do that right on here and gift those same memberships. Just if you guys don't know how to do it. Dale, thank you so much for the super sticker towards our goal. And Claudia J. Jenn Soto never asks if there were any other child victims. That too, except for the only thing was, Claudia, is that she talked about other victims when she talked about calling the news station. She didn't even talk about finding Maddie. She talked about calling the news because, well, you know, other missing children and stuff. Didn't mention Maddie's name, nothing. So that's the time that she did. All right. And did you, I don't know if you heard that, Nancy Jean, but yeah, if you, anybody that wants to get memberships that doesn't know how, send me a super chat or a super sticker and I'll buy them for you with that. All right. Go to sleep alone, away from me, because I need a good night's sleep.
Away from me.
Hey, Shadow.
Because I need a good night's sleep. Because if we sleep all three of us together, and here we have self-censorship interruption,
Rarely ever now. She's changed it a few times. Less than 5 times to be exact is what she says
And
later
it's
on.
worthwhile just spending a little bit of time on this sentence and where we are in the entire statement, because we've got an extraordinary amount of because and reasons why, which began with the so's. We mark these reasons why, the becauses, and the so.
And again, this is a forensic analysis that's able to help poke holes in somebody's story. All right. And I do have that. I just don't put it up that much because people gave me a shit fit about it. But under your scars, I absolutely have PayPal, JScottYT, Cash App, the $ twisted JAI, or Venmo, J-Scott. All right. So if anyone wants to do that as well, you guys can PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App me, and I'll buy y'all memberships if you need me to help. Memberships are $2.99 a month, Zuma, and you get lots out of the membership. Trust me. All right, now, real quick, I'm just going to stop quickly because I have been covering the Buzzard case, Melody Buzzard and Ashley Buzzard. And the mother of the missing girl, Melody Buzzard, was arrested today, finally, but she was arrested on unrelated charges. Now, I've covered this case. I've got probably 6 episodes on this, and there's not a lot of information other than going over maps and the fact that this lady is now been arrested, and there's a possibility that Melody Buzzard may still be alive. All right. So I can cover this next week and do episode 7, but I thought this was important to do today. So yes, Melody Buzzard's mom has been arrested on unrelated charges. They want to make sure that they keep her so she doesn't take off, or we don't lose Melody altogether if she's alive. All right. How does one go about getting a gift? Just make sure you turn on your gifted memberships, and voila. All right, let's keep going. Let's get it going.
The excuses, in effect, we would mark them in the statement in blue. You might have seen by looking at the previous Veroscopes reports that we've done together that we mark up the document in various colors, and pronouns in red, and time will often be in green, and we will mark up reasons why in blue. Where we have excessive blue, statistically, it will often correlate with bloodshed. We can recognize this as a principle of statement analysis.
I agree.
The intelligence having been gained over the years by various law enforcement agencies and state intelligence agencies and research from thousands of statements, tens of thousands of statements in effect across the different agencies. And we have a statistical correlation of
and the reason this is good is because we have so many reports with so much verbiage. You can punch this in there and just take a look and be like, okay, this person is being they're being deceptive in this area. So if they're being deceptive in this area, why don't you ask her a little bit further about, okay, well, you said they only slept together less than 5 times, but I talked to the roommate, and the roommates, and they can make up lies at this point if they want to. They can literally say your roommate says you guys sleep in the same bed every night, or whatever they want to. They can use this app to poke holes in what they want to. All right, let's keep going. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you again, Norma, for the Cash App. All right, here we go. I can only imagine it's a king bed. So now again, Jen's talking about the king bed, and now they're all sleeping together.
King bed, but like she's just, and here we have again self-censorship. Let's catch up to where we are.
For the most part, he would sleep upstairs in the guest room, sleep in my bedroom downstairs.
Okay.
True.
Sometimes he would come sleep in the bed, all 3 of us together.
Okay.
And rarely ever would I send them upstairs to go sleep alone, away from me, because I need a good night's sleep. Because if we sleep all 3 of us.
Now, that's a huge lie that I'm going to call out. And the reason it made it she tried to minimize her lie was, if you heard that last part, she said it's rare that I let them sleep together and I don't send them up there. And then she added, because if we all sleep together, right? She says, because I need a good night's sleep. And that's true. If you took a lie detector test and she was to say they rarely slept together, and then you add, because I needed a good night's sleep, she probably isn't lying. She probably did use that just a few times of, hey, go sleep with her. I need a good night's sleep. And I don't even want to think about the fuckery that's happening between y'all, because I'm sure the tension was there. You can't tell me that there's no kind of sexual tension or tension between two people that have this relationship that's not supposed to be. And yes, it's an admission of guilt. Absolutely. All right. Wouldn't even let my daughter in bed with us. What's wrong with this woman? Right. So look at how she minimizes it. I hope she sees it too. And I do got to tell you, the Sotos do watch my show. So welcome. You're very welcome, Jen, for that picture of yourself.
Together.
Oh, I can only imagine.
It's a king bed, but it's like she just.
Well, she's not a small baby anymore.
No, she's not. So it's just 3 humans on a bed. It's really uncomfortable, really tight.
About how
3 humans on a bed. Are you a human?
So this is where we've got to.
You're not that human, lady.
She describes physical discomfort as an issue
You're a
in the sleeping
potato.
arrangements.
Thank you, Sonny.
And she also uses the phrase 3 humans. She depersonalizes the language. Again, Madeline has disappeared from the statement. At best, she has become one of the 3 humans.
Again, no Maddie's name, no Stephan's name. She doesn't want to confuse the two. And also, Lana, I gotta tell you, I gotta say this again 192 times, and this is not anything towards you. Her telling law enforcement that she let her daughter sleep in the same bed, and the night Maddie, her life was gone, and that whole debauchery that we don't know exactly what happened, that particular night led directly to Maddie's demise. She should have been arrested for that particular incident of neglect resulting in death. And in my opinion, they had the guy, which is Stephan Sterns, they went full force, locked him up, got the CSAM to use against him, took everything they could. And then with Yolanda's ties, Jen lawyering up and putting herself into a hospital, they didn't push forward. Again, law enforcement has changed quite a bit. Now we still got the lead detective, but it's up to him to convince the state to continue the prosecution of Jenn Soto with the evidence that they do have and Stephan's statements, which, again, you can believe Stephan or not. Stephan has clearly said that law enforcement, the state has approached him and his defense team and is asking him to talk about Jen's part. And hopefully he said he's going to do so. So let's hope that happens. Yes, she's a sick, nasty potato. 3 humans. Again,
the detective asks about how often, where they would go, you would send them.
Again, he's clearly asking her this for a reason. How often, when, how many times? There's a reason behind this, and she's just trying to minimize it. She doesn't realize that they got those pictures.
Them off on their own.
Here it is, less than 5 times.
Jen says, I would say. So we recognize this type of phrase. Not only is it, see, when somebody says, I would say, then they're not actually saying what they're saying. They're saying that they would say this.
He already kind of has.
So there's a very subtle difference, isn't there? And we would note this. And
again, you guys know the telltales. I would say, hey guys, I would like to say, I would say honestly, somewhere between, but let me tell you first, I'd like to say, so I'd like to say less than 5 times this ever happened, even though you have over 1,000 photos. Again, minimization. She has no idea what's even going on. And Stephan already has ratted out Jen. That is what I said to law enforcement and the head detective. He's already been speaking about Jenn Soto and her role. He just won't answer me specific questions like, did Jen help you dress Maddie after she passed away? Did Jen help you tell you where to go? He's saving those answers for law enforcement. So when they approach, they can work that out. I don't want to get in the middle of an investigation, but he already has, Lisa. And that's what I went to law enforcement with. And that's what they took. That's what the statement they got from me. Several statements, actually.
In particular, we would note that it's repeated. So we have the sensitivity
Agree.
on the I would say, perhaps
I would like to
psychologically, she's thinking about what she would say. So she stops and she gives herself a bit more time to think about what she's going to say. And so as analysts, we might begin to think, well, when somebody does this, it's because they've got something to hide. There's some level of consciousness of guilt. I would say, and here she sees the need to choose the word honestly. Somewhere between, so we have.
And you guys can see those are two huge qualifiers and critical analysis that law enforcement will look at and say, well, why is she trying to qualify that sentence? Number one. And number two, less than 5 times is very specific when we have thousands of photos that we've already seen. All right. Good to see you, True Seeker. Someone said I looked like a coach today. Drop and give me 20. You guys also might get a quiz at the end, so be careful, all right? Good to see y'all here. Don't forget to hit the like.
Have some vagueness qualification coming in. So I would say honestly, somewhere between. So here we would say that this is deceptive.
And we could get out the whole
we
deck.
also have
too,
a break here,
right?
for essentially self-censorship. And then she says, I'm going to say, so this is no longer good enough. I would say honestly, somewhere between nope, I'm going to say, less than, and then she actually says something, 5 times, has this ever happened? So we would mark this.
And again, on top of that, guys, Deception Detective does this as well. And this can be an exclusion qualifier where you say something like possibly, fundamentally, basically. It's a signal of a lack of commitment to a statement. So when she's trying to lack commitment to what she's saying and let them know, I'm being honest with you guys. There's so many variables in these statements that show her knowledge and her guilty knowledge. I know that word is overused, but in this case, it's very, very true.
Entire sentence as deceptive.
Hey, good to
she
see
has
you guys.
3 attempts to begin the answer. I would say honestly, somewhere between I'm going to say.
I want to say, I'm going to say.
By slowing down and analyzing the words which he used, and by practicing the skill of active listening,
I love it.
We begin to see more information in the statement.
That would be nice if FBI did pick up the case for outside eyes. However, because there's no crossing of state lines or anything, I don't think that they're going to get into into that jurisdiction. But it would absolutely be nice if they realized that there were a ton of corrupt law enforcement officers that were intertwined in this case. Even people like Betty Holland that resigned. Some nefarious things were going on while this case was happening. Do you think Jen lies to the police enough to get a conviction? It's not even about the lies and her getting convicted from the lies, but absolutely the part that she played in this is what she needs to be arrested for, and it's what Stephan has alluded to. And I hope he's letting them know that as well.
We need to keep an open mind because
That
We
too.
need to be honest that we can make mistakes as analysts and we can get transcripts wrong and perhaps we mishear things. So we slow down and ideally we give other analysts the transcript and the analysis for them to look at, because two sets of eyes are better than one.
And so is an app, an AI app that shows you someone's
Steel
lying.
sharpens steel, as Peter Hyatt once said.
And now they're not. They found her fast.
Honestly, being a qualifier,
I don't see them bringing an FBI
less
to
than
Jenn
5
Soto.
times. So we have a specific number
You should.
after saying rarely ever. So we have a difference. And when we see a difference, as analysts, we take note of that. Okay, let's carry on.
Often was
We're going to carry on too, but yes, we've done full episodes where we went over the charges that she could have already been charged for: child endangerment, child neglect, child abuse, abuse of a corpse, neglect resulting in death. I could keep going on. And yes, Garrett, I absolutely hope Stephan does the right thing. And despite whatever they try to give him or not, I hope he speaks to the detectives. You say with detectives who they were selling CSIM and perhaps build some kind of RICO. That would be nice too, because there are other people involved when it comes to 35,000 images, guys.
they would go, you would send them off on their own.
I would say,
I'll pass.
I would say honestly, somewhere between, I'm going to say less than 5 times has this ever happened, right?
That's
It
fine.
hasn't been that.
And this is over the course of him visiting back and forth, correct?
You mean the sleeping arrangement?
Yeah.
Alone?
Yeah.
No, that was.
Yes, the sleeping arrangement. Isn't that what you're talking about, lady? Is she talking about 5 times in the last week he was there? Because it's been, what, 6-7 years?
Including him.
Okay, then she says, no, that was including him living with us, hardly ever.
That's a lie, a huge
So
lie.
we have this phrase repeated. Would I send them upstairs because I just, so this is minimizing language, self-censorship interruption. I had that rule that she couldn't sleep alone with him. I just, self-censorship, that's just me, I'm just. Let's listen to that.
Him living with us.
Oh, okay.
Hardly ever would I send him upstairs because I had that rule that.
So hardly ever would I send him upstairs. Now imagine how long, 365 days in 1 year, and how many years the abuse was going on. How much grooming did it take for Stephan to groom that little girl? How much grooming did it take for Jenn to groom that little girl to be comfortable with Stephan? And then once she was comfortable, how long did it take for him to make her groom her enough that she wouldn't tell when he said, hey, if you just let, put my thing in your mouth for a couple seconds and I'll let you use your phone for 5 minutes. How many times did that have to happen before X, Y, and Z, right? For her to not say anything. In my opinion, she was heavily groomed by not just Stephan, but Jenn as well. And this whole statement is contradictory of everything that we know from what Jenn is saying. This is a complete and utter lie.
She couldn't sleep alone with him. That's just me. I'm just.
Right.
Okay, so she says,
that's what I'm saying. The
had
evidence.
That rule. Admits breaking her own rule.
Yep.
But she says less than 5 times, which we see is highly likely to be deceptive.
Of course it is. 35,000 images?
We have 3 incomplete sentences. I just, that's just me, I'm just. Each one, she wasn't happy with how she was going to finish the sentence. And so we have a large pattern of self-censorship.
Of course she's self-censoring. She doesn't know what they know yet. And exactly, my whole episode is about Why would she even make that rule that they couldn't sleep alone together if it wasn't a problem, if it wasn't something that she was jealous of, if it wasn't something that was taking time away from them, if it wasn't something that she thought she was going to get caught for? Why make a rule that they can't sleep together? And that wasn't even the rule. It was she can't sleep alone with him. The number one rule is she, not even Maddie, can't sleep alone with him. Pictures say otherwise. Now, law enforcement isn't telling us, well, out of the 35,000 pictures, there were, 1,500 from this day and 100 from this day, but we know that it was more than 5 times. All right. Probably not long when your mother is involved in coaching you. Exactly.
She cannot complete the justification. Why have a rule if there's no recognized danger?
What are you guys talking about in chat? Bon Jovi? What?
Okay. We're going to move past a little part of the transcript because of the words which are used.
Thank you. Right.
And obviously this is YouTube. So we need to be aware.
Again, you don't need to make a rule like that unless you have a teenage son or a teenage daughter that's dating a boy or dating a girl and they're spending the night. That's the rule. That's the number one rule that, I heard growing up too. My mom would say your brother's friend can stay the night, but and I wasn't like dating him or anything or any guys. You guys can't sleep in the same room. Or when I was dating a guy, he can stay the night, but he can't sleep in the room. That's a rule that you use with your teenage children that may be sexually active. That is not a rule that you use for a bonus dad that's such a good guy and's been taking care of your daughter and giving him so much attention. That's not a rule that you give them. All right? Yeah, leave that door open.
We need to be cognizant that we need to be sensible. So we have rules exist because dangers are recognized.
What?
She identified a specific threat requiring a rule.
I don't even know about that.
Then knowingly broke that safe.
Yeah, if anyone wants to call in when we're done here and talk about the coaching Maddie in the pillow position, I don't remember any of that. All right. 4 locks and a gun. How's a Woody? And yeah, Woody Allen comment, not an admission to knowledge of abuse at all. My biggest fear is that Maddie's going to leave me for Stephan and they're going to run away. All right. I don't know what you guys are talking about in chat. Am I missing something? Is unforgivable sin just talking about giving us country singers? All right, now I look like a poker player? What? Yesterday I was a skater. Today I'm a coach. I'm possibly a poker player, a police officer. Tell me more. And hit that like button if you have something to say about what I look like today. Or you don't hit the like button anyway.
Safety rule multiple times. And this is consciousness of danger, enabling behavior in effect.
She didn't say Maddie's name at all. There's no Maddie's name in this interview.
The detective says, and then you said, so you're pretty familiar with him.
That too.
Jenn Soto says, yeah.
Oh, you saw the picture?
The detective says, okay, and shows her a photograph. Whose hand does that look like to you? Jenn Soto says, I would say Stephan's. So notice again, we have the I would say pattern.
Okay.
Conditional language. The detective says, is that Stephan's hand? Okay. Jennifer Soto says, yeah, I would think so. So she hedges. She's not definite. The detective says, okay, so you and Stephan, have you guys been intimate before in the past?
Big hugs.
Yes, says Jenn.
I'm a baseball player.
So you're aware of like his looks like and things like that, correct? Jenn Soto says yes. This is obviously redacted. And then the detective shows Jenn Soto a photograph and says, does this look like?
All right, now this is the part that gives me the hugest icks here, is the fact that she's able to look at a photograph of Stephan doing things to Maddie and Maddie doing things to Stephan and not blinking an eye, not crying, not getting upset, but asking, can I see those again? That's evil, in my opinion. All right, Unforgivable says, Jay, you actually remind me of my best friend from high school. Well, maybe I am Unforgivable Sins. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all for being here.
Stephan's to you. And Jenn Soto says no. And so here we have a definitive no. No hedging. The detective says no. Okay. And then shows her a second photograph and says, what about that? And Jenn Soto says, possibly, yeah.
I mean, even the fact that she could just say, possibly, yeah, we heard her tone in that. Here's a picture. You guys tell me how pissed you'd be. You would be coming through. You would come out of your chair and jump through a glass window to go find that man if you saw your daughter on her knees giving a BJ and then another and another and then just a picture of maybe her hand, and she knows what his member looks like. She knows what the cactus peen looks like. She had been with him for years. You don't tell me that and just her everything about it. All right, now you can look at the linguistics all you want, but you can look at the body language, you can look at the words, you can look at how she calls Maddie a body after knowing that she's already gone. And no F's given about these pictures except, can I see them again? What?
So we have a change of the possibly for a different photograph.
Woo, thank you,
The
Don.
detective says, okay, yeah, you're thinking that's his. And Jenn Soto says, might be. So she further weakens,
so.
she further hedges to might be.
Piece of trash.
The detective says, okay. Jenn Soto says, if...
Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate you. And thank you all for being here. Don't forget, we're going to have a call in and then we're going to do a giveaway. So be ready. What you guys are talking about in chat, let's continue.
anything, it's not even the such and such that I'm recognizing. It's the things around it. This is important because we're going to come on to another principle of statement analysis. This is the principle.
Thank you, MM.
Recognition based on peripheral details, not the main subject. So we note this.
I would get
We
sick.
have peripheral detail recognition. And we also have minimizing language, if anything.
Guys, when I even just read about the description of this, it made me physically sick and having nightmares. Literally, I do not ever want to put myself in that situation of seeing something like that, because if I did, I'll tell you right now, first I would get weak, then I'd be shaking, and then that shaking and weakness would just turn to anger, and you guys would see Coach Jay just hulking out. I would not be able to hold myself back. All right. Yeah, you would absolutely lose it too, Mom. I know my mom is not playing. Sadie's mama, full and utter justice for Maddie. And I hope you're feeling better today, Sadie's mama. I would lose
when we
shit.
see this, it's often an indicator of having seen it before. When somebody talks about peripheral details,
yes, I'm sure, Jen,
in their mind, they've seen it before. They're familiar. They've seen similar before.
Yeah.
This is not first exposure to the photographs. It suggests prior knowledge of similar images.
He did, but it didn't do any good because she...
So we would look to see what further photographic evidence arrives, and if we see a continuation of recognition of peripheral details, because that would be very important.
And I'm assuming, guys, they got smart. And remember, they had the tripods and the unrecognizable room 4. So they got hip to the fact that if you're trading these CSAM photos with the dark web and these apps that I know that they were, there's no way to accumulate 35,000 images and to produce all of those alone. They trade, they buy, and they sell. But they knew better than to have a blanket that grandma knitted them, so you can look back and say, oh, that was that family blanket that grandma knitted. Oh shit, look at that. That's the cat. That's our cat. Oh wait, look, there's Maddie's dog in the background. They made sure, in my opinion, to zoom in on things and to keep backgrounds and images out that shouldn't have been. That's what I'm thinking with their tripods and their filming and what they did. They knew better. They knew better. Jen knew better as well.
The detective says, so it's the things around it that make you believe it's his, redacted. Jenn Soto says, yeah.
Yep.
The detective says, okay, so we have these images, and unfortunately, over the last maybe 2 or 3 years, he's been doing redaction and things like that. Now, Jenn Soto does something interesting here. She says, what makes you guys... So her reaction to this news isn't one of absolute horror and shock.
Nope. What makes
it's one of inquisitive.
Welcome.
What makes you guys? And here it ends.
Yeah, I wonder what she's saying. Why is she interrupting the detective so calmly while they're showing her pictures like that? She interrupts to ask him, what makes you guys? And she does it a lot. She will start a sentence and she won't finish it at all. She interrupts herself from saying something, and then she'll deflect, she'll detract, and she'll lie over and over and over, guys. She talked way too much for us not to be analyzing this stuff.
Essentially, she's interrupting the detective, and we have an
And here's the ace in the hole when the detective said, we have the photos. And let's hear her response to that.
Complete question about how they know. She's not asking what he did, which is perhaps what most people would want to know. What the bloody hell, But she wants to know is how they know. So we have a lack of...
Yeah, how do you know?
The real question is what he did.
Who asked that?
Not how they know.
Yep, a pure...
That makes sense.
Obtaining the evidence.
So we would note that, and we would...
What
we would want to know why. Why is this her concern and not that?
Yeah, not asking what he did, but how they know. If you guys don't, if we haven't already showed 1,001 ways why Jennifer Soto is guilty as sin and needs to be arrested, here's 1,002. Why would you ever ask the officers what he did, but how they know? Not what they did. What did he do to my little girl? Did you see any picture? Were there any pictures maybe that got taken in my room, or when he was showering her, that son of a bitch, was he in the shower with her? What else happened? No. Let me see more evidence so I can see what's in there and I know what's coming. And wait a minute, how do you guys know?
The detective says, we have photos. Okay, we have his phone. We were able to get into his phone, and there are some very, very unfortunate of him conducting very unfortunate things with...
Hey, Melissa, good to see you.
I wish I could tell you this was all a made-up story, but it's not. Did you ever suspect anything like this? And Jenn Soto says no.
Never. Not even a little bit.
So for the absolute horror of the revelation...
Yeah. 1,003.
Her question is how they know, not what they know and what he did.
Exactly.
And here we have a singular no.
What's up, witch? No.
Single word answer,
No.
no elaboration, and no real expression of shock or disbelief. So we've got a missing maternal response. We would expect shock, denial, protective anger, questions about her daughter. But instead, we have a single word no, with no elaboration.
Nope. That's it. Done. It's just kind of like, hey, your daughter's missing. Is there anywhere you could think about that she would go? Nope. Didn't go anywhere. Didn't have her phone. Doesn't know how to get to her friend's house. Doesn't have her address. Done deal. My daughter's missing. Nope. And nope. I mean, all right, let's keep going. We got to get to calls, and then we're giving away a Foxy box. So please be in the green, y'all, to get one. I put a post up earlier to give you an idea of what comes in the Foxy box, and it's very tailored to you.
No questions about Madeline's well-being. No expression of disbelief or horror. The absence is deafening.
Foxy box giveaway. Got to be the address. Yeah, you got to have a U.S. address. Or you.
The detective says, "You okay right now? Can I get you anything?" Now this is concerning because Jenn Soto says, "Can't breathe." Now, for those who know about,
guys, she said that before on the news, right? I can't breathe, and everybody speculated right away that she had choked Maddie again, right? Asphyxiation, strangulation. I can't breathe. More leakage? Is this more leakage, guys? States physical symptom, able to speak clearly
about this subject of forensic linguistics and statement analysis. Perhaps those who
I agree
have been following the Veriscope analysis of this case, they might begin to think, is this leakage?
No, my friend. The people that own the land, the people that own that land have nothing to do with any of this. They're actually really good people. They just don't want someone getting hurt on the property where they had the memorial, so they had to move it. But no, those people are decent people, and they have nothing to do with that, in my opinion. Yeah, she can't breathe because she knows she might get caught. Well, that too. Right? Justice for Maddie. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. If you can't hit the like, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Can't breathe.
Yeah, I agree with that, Abby Poodle. Like worked for me. All right, let's go a little bit.
Yeah.
I need some water. I can't breathe.
How are you feeling right now?
I can't breathe.
There she goes. Dropped
Okay,
in
so she
tone.
repeats the same physical symptom. Can't breathe.
No, I'd be mad, girl.
Is this a surprise?
Never ask me if I'm mad. No.
Is there photos of her?
Mm-hmm.
Is those photos of her?
Yes. So you know how we have his phone? Obviously, that's how we were able to find them.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Now she's going to pretend like she didn't know any of this existed. Here we go. She's like, damn it. I told him to delete those multiple times, and he missed it. He didn't check that one little box. Listen to her.
Photos in there.
That's not what she said. What's up? Better late than not at all. Agreed. Rice, Australia. Welcome, Australia.
Her reaction, she asks about evidence instead of what exactly has happened.
Thank you, Unforgivable.
This is very telling. She's evidence inquisitive.
Exactly. Thank you.
Not what's happened to her daughter. Notice she still
No, I
hasn't
haven't.
used Madeline's name.
Listen, y'all, Melissa, I love you. I don't know if you need personal J attention, but there's absolutely no reason I would be mad at you or anybody on this show. I've got 1,001 things I'm doing, and I just picked up my car from the dealership. My house has continued to be worked on, and I've been very busy. Much love, big hugs to you, but I'm not mad at anybody in this chat, and especially not you. I emailed you and asked you to send me a link to your GoFundMe if you want me to share it, but no. So there you go. I hope that you feel better now. All right. I'm not mad at anybody. And if I am, I would tell you, but no.
She should be inquisitive about how is she, where is she, what's happened.
Yes. Go find my daughter.
Instead, her primary focus is what evidence the police have.
There you go. What do you have? I want to know so I can block myself
Not
from
her
those
child's welfare. Her focus is on evidence.
They do.
So
I'm surprised.
As analysts, we would be.
Now, listen, guys, I have to tell you, and I hope that you guys are on the same page. In my opinion, Yolanda and the Soto family are all snakes. However, they also wanted Stephan they pushed, in my opinion, for Stephan to take that plea deal and plead guilty and plead no contest to get him out of there and move forward so they can stop focusing on the Sotos and Jenn Soto. I absolutely believe that Jenn literally got away with taking Maddie's life and the grooming. And yeah, people still do. Yolanda has pull in that area. She has pull and she has clout in that community. All right. So I absolutely think they tried to sweep it under the rug and get it going as fast as they can. They were too quick to take that plea deal because they wanted it to be done. They didn't want justice. They weren't looking for justice for Maddie. It was, let's get this done and get my daughter out of that spotlight, in my opinion. What's up, Purple Fam? Good to see you. Hashtag snake pit. Hashtag Yolanda's a snake. That must be when she snuck the text to Chris to get Stephan a lawyer. They found something. Those were her words to Chris. And like I said, that was the second time that she's asked for an attorney. The first time she called her ex-husband, Stephen, and asked if he knew anybody to get an attorney for Stephan. All right. That's 2 times now that she's asked this supposed monster of hers that what he did to her daughter, which he is, to get him a lawyer.
Thinking that from what we've seen so far in just this tiny portion of the transcript,
yes,
we see consciousness of guilt and awareness that we shouldn't be seeing.
I know.
She's asked, is this a surprise? And she doesn't answer.
Yes.
As a principle of statement analysis, avoiding the question and not answering, we put in a deceptive flag. And instead of answering, she asks again about the evidence.
And again, guys, we know when someone answers a question with a question, they're trying to give themselves time to deceive you and then see what you know. Now, another thing I wanted to say, I see you guys talking about religion in chat. I do think that they are probably raised Catholic. However, Catholic communities and Catholic people don't typically, and I want you guys to think hard and long about this, Catholic people don't typically cremate their family members. Catholic people, many Christian people, that is not what they do. So in my opinion, the fact that Jenn Soto cremated Maddie so quickly was an indication, a huge indication of guilt, wanting to get rid of her body, wanting to get rid of the damage that was done to her body before her death, during it, and the decomp after. All right. So thank you. Yeah, I do know that much. They do not. Jehovah's Witnesses like to cremate people. That's part of theirs. And there's other places, there's other religions that believe in cremation. I'm one of those people that I was brought up and baptized by I have a Nina, and I believe it's Catholic. I also went to Christian Saturday school, and I do believe in cremation, but I sure as fuck wouldn't, and that make me mad, would not cremate my daughter that had been abused for years right out the gate. And then she goes and just gives half of the ashes away like nothing. Yeah. Trafficking, abuse, all of the above, in my opinion. Instead, what evidence do you have against me? What evidence do you have against Stephan so I can get him a lawyer?
She's assessing what the police can prove whilst acting and, more importantly, using phrases like can't breathe.
A lot of people are baptized Catholic or Christian, but they don't practice it.
So this lack of maternal concern over her daughter's condition is a big concern.
I don't want to be in the
The
ground by
detective
myself.
says, yes.
Probably that too. She gave half.
So you know how we have his phone. Obviously, that's how we were able to find the photos in there.
Yep.
Jenn Soto says,
Damn
I don't
it.
want to believe that this is true. Can I see some of that evidence? I don't want to believe, not I don't believe. Notice the difference linguistically. This.
We're almost done, guys. We got a few minutes and then we're going to do call-ins. The phone lines are closed right now. I'm not going to put them open until, but I'll put the number down there in case you guys want to write that down. One man's trash is a member for 6 months. Welcome. Now, I'm not saying Catholics can't. Catholics can cremate, especially in Florida. But here's the thing. They don't typically, that's not a typical thing that I believe was something common in their family. And I believe that Jenn Soto did that to get rid of the evidence. So yes, absolutely they can. But in this situation, that never should have been done. All right.
Could be argued that she already knows and that she does believe, and that she's known for some time. But she says, I don't want to believe.
Catches him.
Entirely different than I don't believe. And then further request to see the evidence.
Me too.
The detective says,
she knew.
What makes you believe that it's not?
Yep, she asked
because
again.
The detective consents. He has a gut feel for this, that her language is all wrong. What makes you believe that it's not, says the detective. She says, I thought I knew him long enough.
Long enough for what?
Even though previously
not to get caught.
She'd been putting in rules. Past tense thought. So we notice the tense. Knew him long enough. So we have time reference rather than character. The length of time becomes the judgment rather than the person.
Just days and she cremated her.
So again, it's wrong.
Choo choo. Let's go.
The detective says, you said you thought you knew him well enough. So our goal, we want to find her. Can you think of anything of where Stephan would take her? Did they have any special hangout spots? Did they have any places that they would do together while you were at work, or you had other things going on in your life?
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you.
Jenn Soto says, the only place they would go hang out at home. There's no place I can.
And I gotta tell you guys, most of the community that do practice Catholicism and are heavy into that type of religion do not believe in cremation. They think that's a desecration of the body, and they want to make sure that you've got the best casket and the best, the open casket, etc. There was no reason for Jenn to be cremating Maddie as fast as she did. and then to barely show up for her funeral and to come for nothing else, not even to make a statement once Stephan was convicted in 21 life sentences. All right, Husky Lover, welcome to the crime crew.
Think of. If they've gone outside, I mean they've gone shopping to like Target before. So we look at her words and we see hang out at home. Acknowledges they spent time together.
I hope you win something, my friend.
Then adds they went to Target.
Oh.
So we have a slight contradiction with the hardly ever. Let's just listen to what how she says that.
Now, Maddie was not decomposed all the way, so I'm not saying that they were going to do an open casket for a decomposed child. She had partial decomposition, and that happens. I've seen open caskets where somebody that's already happened and they clean them up. They didn't have to have an open casket. My whole point is that is a huge red flag. Ask anyone in law enforcement, anybody in the FBI, anybody that knows anything about crime cases, and somebody that cremates somebody too quickly, that's a huge telltale. Now, yeah, it's Jay the Italian cook. We've been talking about that, and he absolutely is. I can't answer that second part because I didn't ask him, do you think she's hiding from Maddie's? But she hid from the court case. They tried to depose her. They tried to get statements from her in Stephan Sterns' defense, and she refused. All right. And as far as I go, I just want to be cremated when I die. I don't care about any of that. I don't want y'all to see me in a casket. I don't want anyone to spend money on a casket. I don't want anyone to have to go not visit my grave. Just cremate my ass, throw me under a tree, let it grow. All right. I don't care about that. But that I do care about what happened to Maddie and what Jenn decided to do after all the abuse.
I don't want to believe that this is true. Can I see some of the evidence?
What makes you believe that it's not?
Woo! Welcome. Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses want to be cremated. Mine too. A lot of my family.
We had a long pause when she was asked, "What makes you believe that it's not?"
Our soul never dies, so it doesn't matter if we're cremated or not. Yeah, Mo, you can call in. We're going to be doing call-in soon.
So,
And she doesn't answer.
our goal, we want to find her. Can you think of anything of where?
All right, we're almost done with this. Just keep your ears and listen to Jenn Soto's tone. Listen to her words, but listen to her tone. They're talking about finding her. At this point, we're talking about Maddie no longer being alive, and this evil potato of a woman is talking like this.
Stephan would take her. Did they have any special hangout spots? Did they have any places that they would do together while you were at work or you had other things going on in your life?
You say we go hang out at home?
What'd you say? Speak up.
Place I can think of if they've gone outside. I mean, they've gone shopping to like Target before.
Okay. But anywhere else that you can think of?
Now, how do I answer this?
What are you thinking about right now?
How this can be true? How I missed the signs?
You didn't miss the signs.
She says, how this can be true, how I missed the signs.
You think that's what he was thinking? What he was gonna maybe say to her? He just said, "What are you thinking about?" How I missed the sign. Again, another question with the question.
This is consciousness of guilt.
Yep, there you go.
How I missed the signs.
Woo!
Admits the signs existed. So
Yep.
her unconscious mind has chosen this sentence. How this can be true, she chose to say, how this can be true. The question is, what are you thinking right now? In Jenn Soto's mind, her thoughts are, how this can be true, not is this true, but how.
How is
and
it
also
true?
what the detectives know.
Yes, I was gonna say, how
And
is it?
also
How is it that
not
you
what
know?
happened,
How is
but
it that you
how
know?
this is
And I know she wants to know how they know is what she's trying to get at.
her mind knows. And so the detective says, what signs are you saying you missed? He immediately
No.
recognizes that this is wrong.
Ooh,
And
that's
so
a great question. What signs are you saying you missed now that you're seeing these pictures? Do tell us, Jen. And this would have been a perfect time for her to say, yeah, I got these weird vibes sometimes. I'd walk in the room and, Maddie would jump back or Stephan would, or I'd wake up in the middle of the night and it'd be like, they'd be way over on the other end. Every once in a while, X, Y, and Z. Nothing. No. I'm like, just saying, if there were any signs, I didn't see any. All right. Immediate retraction when questioned, change from the definitive to conditional if, and then the classic pattern of guilty knowledge. And again, I do want to talk about quickly about cremation. Yes, they take samples. The medical examiner does all of that. They do it for toxicology in case they need to go back. But sometimes bodies need to be exhumed because they miss something, or the fluids have been degraded and they need more, or they didn't get the right pictures of the trauma in that area because they didn't know. So in my opinion, Jen was trying to delete Maddie from all existence so they couldn't go back and see, because I'm sure there was a lot of abuse, guys, a lot of abuse to her little body in that area. Okay. All right, let's keep going. But yes, the medical examiner does that, but it's a huge telltale. Jennifer Lang says, I live in Oklahoma and my friend's husband passed. We cremated him, didn't have to buy a casket. Exactly. It's also less expensive. That's what I say, but I just don't want to be stuck somewhere where nobody wants to come visit me in the box 6 feet under. I'm good. Right. I'm good with that. All right, let's finish
he's
this
saying,
up.
well, what signs? And then Jen realizes her mistake and says,
What signs are you saying you missed?
No, like, I'm just saying, if there were any signs, I didn't see any.
Right.
If there
did you
were
notice
signs,
the panic there? She's like, no, like, I'm just saying if there were any signs, I didn't see any.
right here, Rebecca, just go on to the
So we have
membership.
immediate retraction when questioned. It changes from the definitive to the conditional if. This is a classic pattern of guilty knowledge. So we've only just started the February 28th police interview. We are approximately 10 minutes in, and already we see consciousness of guilt.
Right. I'm not going to continue this. We see what we saw. The biggest statement of today, and the reason that I brought this to you was the smoking gun. Jenn Soto said, I had that rule, right? And when you break that down, having that rule that she cannot sleep alone with him shouldn't even have to been in place if nothing was going on. All right, guys. So here we go. We are going to do call-ins. If I don't get people, I'm going to open the phone line here in a second. Give me a second. I'm going to pull this down. I have to bring up the the call number. Otherwise, I can't get y'all making calls. If nobody calls or we're not getting any or what have you, then we're done and we'll give away a Foxy box. So let me open the phone lines. I'm going to turn it off of Do Not Disturb. Let me make sure that I refresh this bad boy. After we take some calls, then we will give away a Foxy box. You gotta be in green. Okay, you can't get it after you. If we pick your name and you're not in green, you can't get it after. Right? Laughing when you said I don't want to be put somewhere that no one will visit. Right, and I don't want people to feel like they have to visit. Okay, guys, here we go. Call-in lines are open. A lot of people seem to have a lot to say throughout the week. Today's the day. Jenn Soto, guilty by her own words in this police interview. Calling again. Let's have
Call from
that no one will visit.
Garrett.
Right, and I don't want people to feel like.
To accept, press 1.
All right, Garrett. This is Jay with Guilty of Crime. I can hear myself in the background. If you could turn that down. Yes. Okay. There you
Okay.
calling from, Garrett? I saw you in chat.
Okay, well, my name is actually Nordica.
Nordica. Okay.
Yes, I just use a male name because I don't like to use my real identity.
I don't blame you, my friend.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Woo!
And
Everything's bigger in Austin.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for being so kind to Deb and Chris and for not giving up on Maddie.
Oh, sweetheart. You're welcome.
I just wanted to say that I think the world of you for that. And I had to stop watching this case for a while because of the nature of it and losing my own child. I just think it's amazing what you're doing for Maddie, and I think it's a great idea that we should all call the DA. Is that who we should be calling in Kissimmee to apply pressure?
Yeah, you know what? I would absolutely give them a call. Start with Kissimmee Police. You can call the lead detective. I believe his name is Mike. I don't want to give you guys the, like having people call in, but I'm just going to say, call the lead detective. It's Mark Morris. And if you can't get a hold of Mark Morris, it might be hard. You can talk to anybody in in law enforcement and just find out if the case is still open. I mean,
absolutely.
People are mad. People are unsettled. This is another Casey Anthony. Yeah, so again, I don't want to send or incite people to do that, but do it.
But respectfully, absolutely applying pressure.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Guilty of Crime, Deb, Chris. I can't imagine how hard it's been for them, but I have the utmost respect for them for standing up and doing what's right, as hard as it must be for them. And that you have spent over a year and a half on this case and not given up. And I just wanted to say thank you to your mods and the whole community for what you're doing for Maddie.
Oh, you're very welcome.
That's all I wanted to say.
You're very welcome. Keep coming and joining
us. And God bless all of y'all.
God bless you too, sweetheart. You have a good night.
Okay, y'all have a good night. You too.
All right, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, what a sweet caller. All right, Diana says, gotta watch Grish tonight. Rained, fell asleep. All right, guys, we got that. That was a great caller, and I appreciate you all. This case has always been hard. This case has been, and for multiple reasons, guys. This case started off rocky, and it got even worse with all the other creators piling on and the people that don't like my opinion. So thank you guys. I appreciate your support. That caller got me a little teary-eyed there. All right. Yeah, no, we're not doxing the state attorney. We don't want to dox the state attorney, but I absolutely think the community should put some pressure on law enforcement to make a statement. Is the case closed? Are they going forward with it? Are they going to be calling Jenn Soto? Are they going to be charging her, or is this done? All right, let's put some pressure there. Hashtag arrest Jenn's dumbass Raven. All right, guys, that can't be the only person that wanted to talk today. And if it is, you're letting me off easy. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's hope this is a
call from
Allie Callie.
Ooh.
To accept, press 1.
Allie Callie. It's Jay with Guilty of Crime. How are you?
Hi, Jay. Doing good, and yourself?
I'm doing well. Happy Friday.
Exactly. So I put some bullet points. I won't forget what I was going to say.
Awesome.
But one thing, thank you so much, cop, coach, skater, for everything that you do for the children, for the children, especially also for Maddie. Thank you for advocating always for these children. Like I said this before to you, and thank you so much. And also keeping your lives always entertaining and funny, and bringing awareness to child abuse. Right? Because it's dear to my heart because I work in that field.
Oh,
so thank you.
You're welcome.
And also,
I just want to do more, I've always wanted to do more. And I'm like, if I could get another job, in another lifetime, being a detective or being somebody to help people. And that's what I'm doing. I want to do this. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I also want to say thank you for reading my nonsense comments, because as I'm watching your lives, I'm also working at the same time. So thank you so much.
No, you're very welcome.
And
You're
then
very welcome.
I also wanted to just know it's just so disgusting to feel or to just imagine how Jenn Soto, the nasty potato
Yes.
mother, could see her face every day and knowing the fact that she is guilty. Like, how as a parent, how can you see your own child hurting your own granddaughter and being capable of that?
I don't know. I don't know how they live with themselves as a family either, I really don't. I don't know how they can sit there and protect Jenn and still continue to hold their heads up in that community. I think they think it's just going to go away. But I don't think it's going to. It's going to be another Casey Anthony if they don't arrest her. In my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like there is something going to be moved. It's just, I think they're probably just looking into everything, and hopefully they do take action in this case. And again, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate you. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for advocating for these children day out and day time. And I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Keep coming back, and you can call me whatever you think I look like. It makes it interesting. All right, I'm gonna grab the next call.
Thank
Big
you.
hug
Bye.
to you. All right, bye. Let's see. Ending it.
Call from Marianne.
All right, let's see what Marianne. Marianne, where are you calling from?
Pennsylvania. How are you?
Pennsylvania. I'm doing well. How are you? Happy Friday.
Yes, same to you. I've watched this many times, and as we're going through it a little slower,
Yeah.
what is the reason for the interview? What are they trying to get out of her? Because she's not saying anything. I don't know what they're looking for.
Okay, so at this point, they were looking for Maddie. This was on February 28th, and they were trying, that's what they were trying to get out of her in that very interview, was where would Stephan and Maddie go together, their favorite places. Do you guys go hiking? They were trying to find Maddie's body at this point. They already had the CSAM from Stephan's phone, and they had the surveillance, so they just wanted to find her body. And yeah, if they can get some kind of admission from Jenn about knowing about it, of course, that would have been a bonus, right?
Right. When did Juan move out? I mean, was Stephan living there during COVID?
Okay, so here's the deal. We did a timeline of this. I'm going to give you the 2020, like the end of 2020 when Juan lived there. I don't have it in front of me, but it was 2020. It was a little like, right, COVID lasted for a couple years, 2020 to
right.
What? Okay, so yes, Juan lived there in 2020 or at the end when he moved. Okay, Juan moved, I'm sorry, 2019 to 2020 was when Juan and the roommate moved out. When they moved out, Stephan and Maddie and Jenn, that's when the documentation of the CSAM started. So right after Juan moved out in 2019, 2020, that's when it started on video, on camera. So it coincided with all of that.
Right. So that is during COVID.
Yes, yes. COVID lasted for quite some time. When people say COVID, I'm like, that was a good couple of years,
It was.
Yeah.
My point is, if they were living together, she would have couldn't go to school, and she would have worked from home. He wasn't working, she wasn't working.
they're all together. Don't tell me that she
Exactly.
couldn't or know nothing, because there was nowhere to go and not much to do.
110%. And the documentation of the abuse, they were smart enough to wait until Juan and the other roommate moved out. As soon as they moved out, the abuse started happening more and more on camera. Do you know what I'm saying? They had the whole house for a while, and then after they situated it to be able to do it in room 4, etc. So yeah,
Right.
good question.
Right. And my last question.
More. Okay.
I wonder if Yolanda feels any guilt for not letting her stay over, because the next day she's gone. I would feel so guilty.
I mean, I assume so, right? I mean, she was in court saying how she was Maddie's other mom, so I'm sure she does. She has a hard exterior. She probably would never admit that, but I'm sure she's feeling some guilt, right?
Right. I mean, I saw all the statements and stuff like that, but why wouldn't you just let your granddaughter stay there? She's always at the house. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
That they have a birthday party, mother can't be there.
It would have been hard. It would have been hard for, I know, my mom to turn away my daughter if she was crying and saying, "Don't make me go back," right?
Right. Exactly. Anyway, thank you for the coverage. I like that it went slower because you catch more things. And one last thing, the school failed. The school failed as well, because when she went to talk to the counselor about, like, she didn't like him, and he was back in the house, he eats the food. She was saying so many things that counselor was probing, but not. But to me, I was a counselor. To me, I'm like, okay, my flags are going up.
Right.
Like, I'm sitting in my head going up. Why is she talking like she's sleeping in class? She's not doing well. And I'd be like, okay, well, let's have another session or something like that. That part failed.
Right. I agree.
I know you have a lot of other viewers who want to talk to you. I appreciate you taking my call and appreciate the coverage so very much.
You have a wonderful weekend, all right? And come back next week and see us, okay?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. All right, bye-bye. All right, guys. There was probably 10 phone calls that I missed, but if you want to call in, we're going to leave the phone lines open a little more. I know there's a lot to talk about in this case. I mean, we're only going to have a certain we're only gonna have a certain amount of time, and then we're gonna do a giveaway. So if anyone else, I saw Jay the Italian cook trying to call in. I'm sorry I can't answer when I'm on the other call. In my opinion, I think Jen told her sister something early, and she's covering for her. Well, I absolutely believe that the sister and the mom and the family has been covering for her big time. Did she tell them anything? I don't think so. I think that the family just knew. They knew they didn't like Stephan. Now they could use that as an excuse because he didn't work and because whatever Jen told them. But I think ultimately people get vibes from people, and the vibe ain't vibing when you've got this grown man and your daughter that are, doing hearts and sparkles in front of you. All right. So yes. Hello, Jab. How you doing? Yes. Me as well. All right, let me see who.
Call from.
Hello?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
All right. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mo Preciado calling from Reno, Nevada.
All right. How are you? I couldn't understand your name. Say that again.
It's Mo. Sorry, I'm at work. It's Mo. Monique Preciado.
Okay. Hey, Mo. How you doing? What do you got?
I'm okay. Listening to this, discussing this again, it's hard to keep your mind, positivity.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. That's why we want to get it out, right? And then we'll do a giveaway. But, I mean, we don't want to let Maddie's memory just fade and Jen walk around free. It's hard.
I know, and that's why we love you so much, because you're just, you're the leader of the crew, and we're just going to follow behind you until we get this justice. And I really feel it I feel like we're getting close, dude. And I hope I'm right.
I hope I'm right too. I mean, I don't come on here just to feed you guys BS. I come on here to give voices to the victims and then tell you what I can about what I'm doing. So yeah, I thank you for that. What do you got? You got
For
any
sure.
comments about
Well, I
Jen?
saw something in the I saw something in the comments talking about how we can't just call like the detective from, being from Reno, Nevada, and just start asking questions from,
Right.
in Kissimmee,
Absolutely.
Florida.
Yeah.
And so my mind went straight to, what about CPS? Like, was CPS contacted?
That's a good question. Here's the funny thing is we never heard anything about that. So I would assume that
Exactly.
CPS probably wasn't contacted. I'm going to assume only because I've never heard anything about that. There were no CPS
No
calls,
statements, nothing.
nothing. So, that means
And can't they press charges?
who?
Can't they
CPS?
press charges after the fact? Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's solely up to the lead detective. Mark Morris is the lead detective, and whoever else that is above him. It's their job to take what they have and decide if it's enough to. And the judge has to accept it too. But I don't think CPS would have. They were never called.
Can actually do it.
Yeah, nobody ever knew. And I worked with Synth on this. Synth went line through line with me in this case, and we dug through this. There was never a mention of CPS. The only call that was ever made was poison control when they thought Maddie had OD'd. And again, that happened the night that she died as well. Too many pills and drugs. All right. So that's
Aren't they mandated reporters? Why didn't they contact CPS?
I don't know. I don't know what information she even gave them. She might have given them some cockamamie story and name. We don't know. Hey, Mab.
Right, might have blamed it on her like she's really good at doing.
She could have said my daughter got into the pills and she didn't realize and she took them twice. We don't know what she lied or what she did or didn't say.
Here's the thing. The reason why I'm asking is because when I was trying to fight to regain custody of my son, he was about 10 or 11 years old. Okay? And what had happened is I lost my apartment and had to go stay with a friend. And basically, they told me that I couldn't share a room with my son, let alone a bed at that age.
Yeah, they don't let you. They're
so why wasn't at the very minimum CPS contacted because she's laying up in the bed with a 13-year-old
and
a man, a grown-ass man.
Here's the problem. Nobody knew what was going on. They kept it so well hidden, apparently. I mean, I don't think the room is it. So when the roommate talked to me, one of the roommates said, it was weird that they were always in the bed, but Jen gave a story for that, right? We're watching movies, whatever. I mean, can you imagine your roommate calling CPS with somebody that needs a place to live that Juan was giving her a break on rent. So I think her intuition didn't get past intuition, and I don't think she was just going to call CPS. But I agree with you, right? I wish somebody would have. But I gotta say, I think
I just was hoping that CPS could be, because like let's say with Gabriel Fernandez, right?
Right.
When he passed away,
yeah.
Not only were the parents in trouble, but CPS was in trouble too, right? So that was just my mindset. Like, okay, well, can we maybe report CPS or maybe the poison control for being a mandated reporter? Like, something has to put a fire under these people's asses because they don't give a shit. And I
wish. Let me look at the case that we're looking at now with Emmanuel Haro and how his dad was walking free. And so now they slapped a larger sentence because the judge messed up. They're not going to go back and reprimand the judge, in my opinion. They're going to put the harshest sentence and use him as an example, but the judge just walks. So I got to tell you, CPS is one of the biggest failures everywhere in the United States.
Yeah, totally.
I don't talk about it all the time, but behind the scenes I do to a lot of different people about the cases I cover, and they're a freaking failure. So anyway.
Yeah, I guess we don't just automatically go to calling CPS on our friends and family. Like that's not what we want to do. We don't want to see kids get taken away. I mean, in this case, we definitely wouldn't want the kids to get taken away. But
that's
in
not
general,
a
right?
thing. Yeah, I would never do that to someone that if I saw like something that I wasn't comfortable, I wouldn't just call CPS and be like, yo, I felt uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah. And
But
some families are more comfortable in that manner than other families. You know what I mean?
right,
Like my kids don't lay in the bed with me, you know, and they're
right.
grown adults. But you know, some people will, you know, cuddle with their kids in bed, and that's
But
totally up to the, you know, totally up on them.
it's also different versus having an ex-boyfriend. Think about that. Let me say it again. An ex-boyfriend. They weren't even together. They didn't sleep together, according to Jenn, for a couple of
Vomit in my
years.
mouth.
Right now, that's much
Mm-hmm.
different than that's different than my family. We have two moms and 26-year-old son and 11-year-old daughter. And we're like, when we watch TV, we have a king size bed. I shit you not. My son comes over 26, my daughter and my wife and I, and we all lay in our king size bed and watch movies.
Oh, so cute.
It's no big deal
Really
because
cute.
it's just a different, it's a different dynamic and situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yep.
situational.
Yep.
You can't just say, well, here's this and now I'm gonna, but when you think about an ex-boyfriend, that's much different. That puts you in a whole other league of what was going on. Anyhow.
Yeah, I just think that Maddie was starting to get more socially and self-aware of that this was not okay. Because when they're little, you can tell them whatever, they're going to believe whatever, right?
Exactly.
But once they start getting older, they start being around their friends, they start watching stuff on YouTube, they realize, wait, this isn't normal what's being done to me. And I think she started sticking up for herself. And I think Jenn, I mean, because when they say this, like, what's the MO? Who has the most to gain out of Maddie being gone? Jenn. Stephan didn't want nothing to happen to her.
No, and that's the only reason that I hang on to what he's told me about his side of what happened and Jenn's involvement. He didn't gain anything from losing her. He didn't want to lose her. But like I said, Jenn gained quite a bit in the relationship and then outside of it. So, I mean, I do appreciate all you guys. We all want justice for Maddie, and I do hope that local people or whoever call. Now they're not going to answer you and be like, "Yeah, I gotta answer you." But if we put some pressure, maybe
Sure. Yes,
yeah,
right.
maybe we'll get a statement. Maybe what can we do other than just sit there? That's what we could do.
Right.
So why not, right?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I agree. I think I'll do my part. I work swing shift, so I'll call in the morning.
Awesome. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, send me an email, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, or you can see my email below if you need to, you have any questions or anything.
For sure. Yeah, I emailed you yesterday, so.
All right.
Okay, cool. Well, good night, everybody. Happy Friday, and Godspeed Tuesday. Have a great weekend.
Yes, you too. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. I think we could do another call. Next call. Here we go. Crush. I wonder what that is.
Call from
Jay the Italian Cookie.
Ooh. What is up, Jay the Italian Cookie? That rolls off the tongue. How you doing?
I'm great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Always. I love Fridays. What do you got? And where are you calling from? I see a Sacramento number.
Yes, I am in Sacramento.
Okay. I didn't want to call you out, but I'm in California and I know those area codes well.
Yes.
All right, what do you got?
So, okay, what have I got? Okay, Jenn, in all of her interviews, and especially the one with her attorney there, she did say things that she knew, and those are so negligent for a parent to know that there is a pew-pew in that drawer that wasn't secure in a box. It wasn't, it wasn't like in one of those armory boxes or anything.
Nothing. It was just in the top drawer. Just in the top drawer.
Like here.
Yep. But she knew that. I mean, she led the police to that particular room with that. She didn't even blink an eye. And I don't know how it is in Florida to have a weapon that's not secure and locked up. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right. And I wonder where all of the meds were. Did he have all the Ativan in his room? Did she have any in her room? Whose bottles? What names were on them?
Can I tell you something? I think they probably had them all over the house. I think when I saw some of the pictures, you see, bottles in the bathroom and here. I don't think any of them were really that cleanly and neat.
Right.
And here's the thing is once Stephan said that night, Maddie not only took double the doses of Ativan and sleeping pills, but then Jenn handed her weed vape pen, and that's what he thinks got her really sick, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That means it was probably a regular occasion of getting double and triple dosed and then adding weed on top of it to a little girl to ease her, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but do you think that vomit underneath the bed downstairs was the initial place?
That's a good
Because
question.
weren't their roommates there upstairs?
That's the problem.
And
is there were
that's
there
the
were
problem.
they were all there. They were there that morning. Even they were moving around in the morning. But I don't think they knew their schedules. Okay, they knew their schedules and they knew what time. That's why they needed to go to McDonald's at freaking 7 a.m. Right out of the house.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to McDonald's. And apparently they went there all the time. So it wasn't like this big, special thing.
Birthday. Yeah, I know. The whole story was ridiculous. And I really think that Stephan was shell shocked AF, which leads me also to believe that Jenn had a huge hand in pointing him in where to go, how to do it, what time. I think she actually absolutely helped facilitate that.
Yeah, but I think that, when people say there has to be evidence, there's evidence right out of her mouth.
I know.
Right out of her mouth.
And unfortunately, it's circumstantial. And I wonder if they've ever approached a judge to say, here's the circumstantial evidence that's stacked up. Can we move forward? I wonder if that's ever happened. We don't know.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
Well, that's what it takes. You got to have evidence and you got to go to the judge, and then the judge can determine if the case is strong enough to proceed with your first preliminary hearing or, the pre-trial stuff before you even get to that. So, I don't know, but Lucky says, awesome caller point in Florida. It's illegal to have a gun not locked up if a minor lives in the home, according to Florida statute 790.174. So there's another crime potentially, right?
Right. And what's with all of the locks on that door?
Yeah. Well,
why do you need so many?
Well, we know they were producing CSAM. There was CSAM being produced out of that room, period. I can't say that enough in the way the room was set
it was
up.
so white.
Yep. That's a huge
It was so sterile.
Yep. And
that's so weird. You know what's so funny is you and I share the same name, and we also spell it the same way, which is the proper way.
Yeah. The proper way. Why wouldn't it?
Of course it is. Good minds think alike.
Yes.
But I want to know if Deb and Chris have said anything to you about what he's doing right now. Is he safe? Has he had a lot of people coming after him?
No, he's actually settling in. It's very interesting at how he's taking his doing his time. I talk to him too. I don't talk to him as much as obviously his parents do, but I swear he's like talking about, I'm just hanging out. I got some new friends. The coffee's cheaper in here. He's literally he's got 21 life sentences. He's making
institutionalized.
I have not heard. Now. Have you heard anything, Deb? I have not heard one thing about somebody trying to hurt him or do anything since he's been in that new prison. So, no, it's the weirdest thing, man.
Yeah, because you don't hear of anything other than he's just hanging out there. What else is he?
No, that's what he's doing.
Are they still sending him books and things like that, like they were when he was in jail? My God, that was ridiculous. It was like so much money being spent for nothing.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that anymore. I'd have to ask him, but I think the budget's been cut and the rules have changed. So,
good.
Yeah, somebody's saying they can't charge Jenn because she has immunity. She only had a one-time immunity for one interview, and that's gone. So there's that. And thank you so much, Lady for Justice. But yeah, that's that. He's just hanging out. He's going to be institutionalized forever. And he seems to be just getting along just fine. But people aren't your friend in prison. I got to tell you that. So that being said, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, there's another thing I wanted to say. You know how he pled and that Jenn was not there.
No, she wasn't.
It's amazing that a mother, an innocent mother, wouldn't be there for Maddie.
Well, let's
say something.
Let's take it one step further. Her sister made a statement on the phone, on a speakerphone, and that gave her every opportunity, Jenn Soto, to also make a statement in the courtroom while her sister was on a speakerphone, and she didn't do so. What's up, Space Case? So there you go.
I put that against her too. You know,
and it
that's
should
just
be
odd.
And it all should be.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a great weekend with your family.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you and everybody else here. All right, that was the last call. I'm going to do a giveaway now. You too. Bye-bye. I got to love these people that come in here and tell me something. Your thumbnail is in poor taste. Her lack of values shouldn't exacerbate yours. Well, I like the thumbnail, and I don't find it in poor taste, and I find it very funny. So thank you for your insight, Vanessa the Virgo. I appreciate you, and I'll agree to disagree. My lack of values has nothing to do with my thumbnail. I've heard that so many times before. You guys remember when I was on Turtle Island and callers lied about me saying that I had a baby that was no longer alive on my thumbnail? The rumors. All right, guys. Maggie, good to see you. I wish you guys would go back and rewatch this if you missed the episode. This is your last opportunity to get a membership. We're going to be giving away a Foxy box any minute. All right. Diana, can I imagine my daughter sleeping in a room with a man, a tripod, and a camera? Then me not questioning anything, right? Right. You see where the green is. There you go. You remember that, Mab? Oh my God. Somebody came on my show the other day too and said they didn't like me because I said Lori Vallow was innocent. And then the YouTube streets blew up last night, and I realized which creator is over there just making up complete and utter lies behind the scenes on Rumble and streaming about us creators. So there you go. Now I know people are making stuff up and spreading stuff, but I really did. I like my thumbnail, but thank you. What's up, Chief Rocka? How you doing? All right. Yeah, people are odd, right? They come on here just to tell me I don't like your thumbnail. Did you hit the like button though? Yeah, that's definitely not the worst thing going on there. All right, guys. Good luck to everybody. Thank you guys for being here for over 2 hours. Chief Rocka is way late. Linda says Jen had control over everyone. The roommates will never rat her out because they're friends with the family. Tell Stephan when to go and come back, and she was the mastermind of the crime. I agree with that. I agree that she's the puppet master, y'all. All right. I give up. I've put a question in the chat. What are you trying to? I thought you were going to text me a question, Deb. I never got a text from you. But if you let me know what you're trying to say, I'll post it up there for you. All right. Let's give stuff away. We still have 285 in chat. This ain't about thumbnails. No, it's not about thumbnails. All right. I believe Jay wanted some peen before I believe that she thought Lori Vallow was innocent, right? All right. It's like, though, who the heck cares? It's your thumbnail. I like my thumbnails. All right, guys, hit that like button whether you like my thumbnails or me or not. If you're not going to do that, then just leave and stop wasting everybody's time. All right, Justice for Jane, you now have the opportunity to win a Foxy box. So I'm going to give those away right now. Let's put this up so you guys can see that we're putting up the link, and we're going to give a Foxy box away. All right. Let me get this out of here, and we'll share our screen, and we'll give you guys a lovely Foxy box. And don't forget, guys, we got a lot of different giveaways. We got Christmas ornaments we're doing. I've still got some Maddie shirts left. Nobody ever claimed their Maddie shirt. I still never got a message from the person that I gave a Maddie shirt to. So it means I got an extra exclusive Maddie shirt that came from when I purchased them to put money towards the bench. Love you too, Allie. All right. And thank you, Barbie G. I appreciate you. All right. We're giving away a Foxy box, which you guys will love a Foxy box. If you don't know what it is, well, you'll find out when you win one. Everybody that's gotten a Foxy box has loved it so far. All right, so hit that like button. Make sure you're in green. Mom, I got your Maddie shirt for you here. Don't worry. I bought several of them, and they're just chilling here. All right, so love you. I got yours, Mom. Don't worry. I would never get rid of that. Hey, they all keep their heads on a swivel, but he has a couple of friends, and they kind of look out. Exactly, and that's what we've heard thus far is that he's got some friends. He's making his way, etc. Now let's hope that he talks to the state and they move forward with the Jenn Soto investigation. Going to Miss Guilty of Crime this weekend. Love you too, Mama. All right. Where is that thumbnail? Where's the thumbnail? Well, the thumbnail is my episode, my friends. Let's see if we can even see the thumbnail. I don't think we can even see that thumbnail. I need the link to this. I think maybe the only person that didn't like the thumbnail would be Jenn Soto that didn't like the thumbnail. Jenn Soto's family probably doesn't like the thumbnail. So was that you, Jenn Soto? Welcome, Hope K59. All right, let's go. Here we go. There's the thumbnail. There you go. If you don't like the thumbnail, I don't know what to tell you. No, we cannot sell Maddie shirts. We're not allowed to sell Maddie shirts. I did buy some to contribute to Maddie's memorial bench, and I still have a few Maddie shirts left over. They can only be given away. Right? So there's the thumbnail, y'all. There's the thumbnail. There is Jenn Soto giving her rule Maddie can't sleep alone with him. All right? But she didn't use Maddie. She said she can't sleep alone with him. And there you go. Like it or not, that is the thumbnail for today. All right, I think they're funny too. Gotta have a little bit of sense of humor, right? All right. Are you not creeped out? Nope. I love my thumbnails and I love doing my little art projects with the thumbnails. So, I mean, hey, gotta think of some rule breaker. You gotta think of some creative things to do around here. All right, guys, we're giving away a Foxy box. Let me log this bad boy in. Every time it does that to me, I'm ready to go. And all right, guys, let's go. Load the comments, cross your fingers, and make sure you're in the green, baby. Let's see who's coming up. You got to be in the green, and you got to be in the U.S. All right. Thank you, Space Case. I appreciate that. Tell them where to put your thumbnail. Oh, my goodness. That's wild. Justice Jane just got gifted a membership and she just popped on here late. No, I'm not creeped out by the Sotos. The Sotos have been watching my show since we started. All right, so that's crazy. Justice Jane was just gifted a membership on this episode, and Justice Jane was pulled up as a winner. So Justice Jane, if you could please come forward and let us know, number one, are you in the United States? I know she's green because she just won. She came in and thanked us for the membership. However, if Justice Jane isn't here, she's not going to be able to get we're going to give you a minute, Justice Jane. All right, Justice Jane, I have you up here. You just won a membership and you won a Foxy box. Can you tell me if you're in the United States? If so, congratulations to Justice Jane. I do need you to email guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. All right. Can you throw that up there, please? Foxy? All right, I'm going to pull this down, man. I wish I could give away other stuff, guys. It's getting close to the, let me see what I got. Hold on real quick. Let me put this up there and see if I got anything. All right. Let's see. What do I got here? What do I got? All right. Let's see. All right, guys. Let's see. See, these are the Justice for Maddie shirts. They're in green. You can't see them because they're green. But these are the shirts that were sold for the bench to make the money. All right. So I've got a green shirt here, another one here. I've got a Guilty of Crime t-shirt and another one. Why don't I give away a Guilty of Crime t-shirt? All right. Let's do that. All right. I'm going to give away a Guilty of Crime t-shirt. Does anyone want a Guilty of Crime shirt? Let me know. All right. Who wants one? You've been listening and cleaning. Well, Justice Jane, I hope you come in here. Does anyone want to win a Guilty of Crime shirt? If you don't say yes, I'm not going to give it away. Who wants a Guilty of Crime shirt? Hit 1 in the comments if you want me to give away a Guilty of Crime shirt coming directly from me. 1, hit 1 in chat, and then that will get you entered into this, guys. 1, and you got to be green. All right, guys. All right, I'm going to completely pull this bad boy down so I can redo the whole thing so that we don't get it messed up, and I'm going to just completely get out of all of this and then make sure I redo it so that I don't get some winner that's already won a bunch. I really want somebody that hasn't won to win something, all right? It seems to be sometimes the same people over and over. So let's do this, all right? I'm giving away. You're not in green, Rachel. You might want to get one because people ask me if they're in green and they're not, and then they don't win. If I pull it up, you're not going to win, all right? So I've been wearing my Guilty of Crime shirts lately, guys, and I've got extra. All right. Those I have not wore. I still have got those sitting in a pile on top of the Maddie shirt. So grab yourself a membership, hit that like button, and let's get going. Gotta be green, and you gotta be in the US because I can't afford to ship out of the country. And I love you too, Melissa. I never want you to think I'm mad at you. I'm not mad at any of y'all. Right. And we have coloring books, Janet. You can get a coloring book from our merch store for a really great price. We have $5 off of it right now too, and $5 off of like 20 is not a lot. Trust me. Those books, coloring books, will last you for days and days. All right. So I suggest you go over to Guilty of Crime and go buy yourself a coloring book. The ladies have put a lot of time and effort into making the perfect book. All right, let's go. I think Ryan does need a Guilty of Crime shirt. All right, I'm on it, guys. I just wanted to talk for a second. And if you don't like my thumbnail, then get out of here. Because that thumbnail's what's going to win this, baby. All right, continue. All right, Guilty of Crime shirt. Let's get to it. Thank you, Bree. 2, 1, and boom! Jenn's a Gypsy has won quite a bit. So Jenn's a Gypsy, if I'm correct, I think she's won Foxy Boxes. I'm going to go ahead and spin it again because I'm just going to use that off. I'm going to use my my brain and say I think Jenn's a Gypsy has won. Am I correct? Jenn's a Gypsy has won a few times. Can somebody let me know, mods? Come on, guys. Jenn's a Gypsy. Did she win or not? Give him your middle finger. Oh! All right. Jenn's a Gypsy came up, but I need to know if you did. Yes? No? All right. I'm going to spin it again. Here's the winner. The next one that comes up is going to be the winner of the Guilty of Crime shirt, but not if you already just won something. I want to be fair, guys. All right. I'm like the school teacher. I got to be fair. Thank you. Pass it along to someone who hasn't won. Okay, I thought so. Michelle, I don't know if I think Michelle is not in the green unless she got gifted a membership. Michelle, where are you at, my friend? Has Michelle won anything? And is she in the green? Yes. All right, then. Are you in the United States? If so, email me. Guilty of Crime and she's in the green. All right. You're welcome, Justice Jane. Congratulations. And Michelle, congratulations. So email me, guilty of, hold on, my headphones, guilty of crime by J at gmail.com. All right. Did Tiff finally come in? I haven't seen her. All right. There you go. All right. She's answering me. Wait, what? Okay. You're good. Yes. What? All right. Congratulations. I'm done. I am done trying to figure out chat. It's been 2.5 hours. I made some bomb pork. I slow cooked some pork in the oven this morning. And what did I miss, y'all? What did I miss? Congratulations to everybody. Deb asked why the roommates did not call CPS when they were there, but then got scorned and she just heard about it. Okay. No, CPS never got called about anything because there was nothing to call. The abuse had not started yet with the roommate that I talked to. Now, when the roommates came in later, those people are friends with the Sotos. They would have never called CPS on Jenn Soto. So hopefully that answers your question. I didn't see Tiff at all today. I just saw her in my chat telling me something, but I don't know. All right, guys. I love you guys. Congratulations to the winner. Email me, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. Master Chef. Now I'm a chef. Chef, skater, police officer. All right. Abby says, Tiff, when I did hear about it, it took me 15 minutes to get to Maddie out of the room and get Jen and Stephan in front of it. Exactly. And thank you for doing that. Abby Poodle, you're the only one in this entire case that's ever said, stop, guys. What are you doing? Why are you all sleeping together? Nobody else had the balls or the gumption to say anything to them, and I don't know why. All right. Justice for Jane, email Foxy, and Michelle, you email me. All right, guys. I love you. I'm going to go eat my slow cooked pork chops or slow cooked pork with rice and green beans. Doesn't that sound good? It does sound good. All right. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Mwah. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you guys for being here and everything you've done. Now I look like a baseball or a softball mom. What if I take my hat off? Okay. All right. I'm out of here. Love you guys. Have a wonderful night. Yeah. It's all good. It's just pork. Yeah, I made it like sweet pork with rice and green beans. Mwah. Love you guys. Have a good night.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?